We're so happy that you're here with us today. Today, we're coming to you live from Carlsbad, California. Our expert is a client-centered health coach, meal systems expert, and plant-based recipe creator. A warm welcome to Girls Night Live, Sophia DeSantis.
Hi, I am so excited to be here with you guys today. I am, like she said, I am in Carlsbad, California, although you wouldn't know it because it is totally overcast and drizzly today, which is crazy. I thought it was summertime. But I am super excited to talk to you guys today about a topic that is really passionate. I'm really passionate about. A little backstory. My business, Veggies Don't Bite, started, a little over 9 years ago. And the reason that I started this is because I had some heart issues, and we had a baby at home, and I was pregnant with my second, and my first two are 15 months apart. So they're very close together. And then my husband started traveling full time for work. So needless to say, there was a little bit of stress in our lives. And he'd been on medication for his heart most of his adult life. It's something genetic. All his family has high blood pressure, cholesterol, and all that. And when I had my second baby and he started traveling, his medication just really stopped working. And so he started seeing a new cardiologist, and this new cardiologist said to him, hey, I can up your medication. I can find another one. Or, in case you're interested, I deal with a lot of my patients through dietary changes and predominantly plant-based diets. And if you're interested in, trying something different out, here's a documentary, very low pressure, which I love that approach. And I still remember the day when my husband came to me. I was in bed nursing my baby, and he said, I want to try going plant-based. And I'll be completely honest with you all. I laughed when he first said this to me. I'm not even kidding. I was like, okay, he's Italian, I'm Greek, and we were healthy. I use this in air quotes because healthy really means something different for everybody. And we really did truly eat, what we considered a healthy diet. But for some reason, it was not working for him. So he was totally serious. He said, I feel terrible. And, our doc says that he really treats patients and sees so much success, and I want to give it a shot. So we started along this journey, and it was new for all of us. I had postpartum, and I struggled really hard postpartum. I know this is Girls Night Live, and so those of you that have had children and have had struggled postpartum totally know what I mean. It was really rough for me. And so I thought to myself, I said, well, hey, a change could help me too. So we started eating more plant-based. I took time to research and to redo a lot of our favorite recipes because, side note, we absolutely love food, and you're never going to see me eating this giant salad and feeling like I'm happy and satisfied. Salads are great for some people, and I will eat more of like a bowl style salad with like tons of stuff in it, but I am not a lettuce, carrot, celery, satisfied kind of girl. I love real food. I love comfort food. I mean, I have taken all of my Greek recipes, his Italian recipes, and completely created them to be plant-based so that he could still enjoy them. But it didn't come without a lot of trouble. It didn't come without, failures. And one thing that came out to me is that we did this pretty quickly. And I started to realize that it was causing a lot of stress. So I took a step back, and I started thinking about, I'm a teacher by background. I taught for 14 years, and I have a master's degree in education. And so I started thinking about the children that I taught. And half of my career, I taught children with special needs. And you have to create these plans. I had to create these plans for my students that help them reach these long-term goals, but in small steps. And I started thinking to myself, well, why can't I do that for us, for the way we're eating? Because just because, online, it may feel like you have to eat a plant-based diet all or nothing. You have to just throw your life out and go vegan. That's not the truth. And that's not what's actually working for most people. And for some people, okay, perhaps. But for most of us, we need to take things into small, manageable parts, and we need to feel success before we're going to move forward. And that's just human nature. If you try something and you fail, or you try something and you're burnt out after 2-3 weeks, it's not something that's going to be sustainable. So I to just basically share plant-based recipes with everybody. But part of my brand is also making sure people know it's not an all or nothing thing. Whether your goal is to be 100% plant-based, great, but it doesn't have to be. If your goal is never to be 100% plant-based, that's great too. The more plants you add to your diet, you're going to see benefits no matter what. So I am going to share a little presentation that I have with you guys, and I want to show you guys how let's see, there we go, how I created my plant-based life so that it wasn't overwhelming and I felt empowered instead of feeling constantly overwhelmed by everything. And what it is, I don't know if you can see the same screen I can, but I'm going to move that. What it is that small habits, little tiny habits, those get together to create lifelong big changes. And we want to be successful in reaching our wellness goals instead of constantly feeling like we're going to fail. So the first thing is what is a habit? So a habit is something you do automatically. It's like you brush your teeth before you go to bed. You wake up and you eat breakfast, if that's what you do. These are things you don't really think about. They're just things that are part of your life. And this is the goal when it comes to creating habits that will give you a healthier lifestyle overall. Goals are great, but they can also be overwhelming if you don't have the baby steps to achieve that goal. Okay, so that's a difference between a goal and a habit, is that goals can take a long time. You don't know how long it's going to take you to, if let's say your goal is 100% plant-based, you don't know how long that's going to take. I mean, you can try and have it done cold turkey overnight, but you don't know if that's going to be sustainable. So instead of focusing on this goal, focusing on taking it apart and finding small habits that moves you towards that goal instead of going to the goal and then completely going back is what the goal is overall in wellness. Small habits lead you towards larger goals, and they also become integrated into your life, and that is key. So I will show you after this, I'm going to show you a few things that we do now as part of our small habits that have been integrated into our regular life that we don't even really think about. So the question is, how do I create a small habit? And I'm sure it's something that if you've never done it before, could be overwhelming. And I took this from my teaching experience. The first thing you want to do is you want to think about, what is your goal? Okay, so I'm going to take example. I'm going to say that our goal for us was to eat probably plant-based between 80 and 90% of the time. I would say my husband's more 90 because he's the one that has the actual health issue that requires him to eat mostly plant-based. The rest of us are about 80 because I have 3 kids and I also want to create a love of food and I don't want to label food as bad for them. So we're more kind of on the 80 range because when we go out, I don't stress about things, especially with my children. So that's the first thing. Second, where are you starting? And this is something that a lot of us really have a hard time with because we're in social media all day. We go to social media, me included, to see and to understand, like, what are people doing? And that's kind of like our baseline. But the problem is that what you see there is not necessarily where you are. And all of us are different. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's hard because when we see this perfection of the online world, sometimes we think to ourselves, oh, I should be there. And that's where we start versus being honest and lowering our expectations and realizing that we're all starting at a different point. So if you're starting at a point where you don't eat any vegetables, and you know what, don't be ashamed of that. I know a lot of people, a lot of clients that come to me that don't. And the fact that you're even thinking about maybe changing that, that's great in and of itself. So where are you starting? If you're starting here, it's going to be a whole different path for you than someone that's starting up here. And then you need to think about those small things that lead you towards that goal. And those can also be different for everybody. So I'm going to give you a few examples. One of our goals, let's say you don't exercise at all, and you know that it's important to move your body because it really, really is important to move your body. So if your goal is just I want to create an exercise routine, I want to be moving my body, I want to be one of these people that says I exercise. A small habit can be going on a walk after dinner. Okay, so we all eat dinner at some point. If that is something that we do, because that's part of our everyday life, if you start attaching that walk to the dinner, it's going to be something that's integrated into your life. So after dinner, if you and your dog or you and your friend or you and your significant other have a plan to go on a walk, which is great. If you're starting with no exercise, any amount of movement is wonderful. That is going to be something that becomes integrated. And when you don't do it, you're actually going to miss it. Another thing is taking the stairs instead of the elevator. And I do this a ton just to get more movement into my day, especially days that I'm busy. If I have an appointment, I take the stairs instead of the elevator. That's great. I mean, that's a small habit that you can start doing that is going to automatically, your brain is going to start looking for the stairs versus the elevator. Another thing is cleaning your house. And this sounds really silly, but cleaning your house, it's a lot of movement. Like you move a ton when you're cleaning your house. So it could be something that, you know, every 2 weeks on a Saturday, you spend the day cleaning your house. You're getting exercise in and you're getting a clean house. So it's a habit that you can start integrating into your schedule and into your life that is great for you. Another goal would be to eat more vegetables. So let's say that you don't eat any vegetables. There are going to be, I'm going to show you 2 easy things that you can do and integrate into your everyday life that are going to automatically add vegetables into your day. And they may seem, I'm hoping that some of you are here that don't eat vegetables, that really want to start increasing their vegetable intake, because these are seriously things that even my kids don't notice that I'm doing. So it's great for people that are either picky or, you know, either that just want to add more things, but especially if you have kids that we know the struggle when it comes to feeding kids. And even me and my family, who we've been eating plant-based since our kids are babies, it's still a struggle. So there's no judgment. I wanted you guys to know too, that you guys are going to get a link to download my entire Full Habits guide. This is a guide that I touched upon everything in this presentation, but the guide itself is super comprehensive, and it's going to give you not only more detailed information and walk you through step by step on how to create small habits for yourself, but I also have organizers and one-pages that you can copy and use consistently to help keep you just on track and help you keep you more organized. Okay, so let me stop the screen share and go back to my face. Here I am. So I mentioned that there's 2 things that I'm going to show you guys to do, what you can do in order to increase the veggie amount that you have in your everyday life. One of the things is, and I'm sure some of you eat smoothies, and I'm going to say this by saying not only a smoothie, but this also works for a milkshake. I call it milkshakes for my kids because something about milkshake versus smoothie makes them a little more excited. But today I'm going to show you a smoothie because my kids are coming home in about an hour from school and they always have a snack. And so I'm going to have this ready for them to eat. So I'm going to grab a few frozen things. All right. Excuse the noise, but I need some ice for this. Okay, so I have a few smoothie recipes on my site, so I can definitely share those too. But my website, veggiesdon'tbite.com, if you search smoothies on there, you're going to see a ton of them. And I have gotten to the point where I don't even follow a recipe with my smoothies. It's just become so natural to me. And I'm going to show you how I do it without following a recipe, so you can see that. So here's my blender. And if you see the key that I use, like show you, see that there's the blade underneath, and you look at it from the side. When I make a smoothie, this is a smoothie size for 2 people. I pour the milk so that it pretty much covers that. So that's kind of visual cue for me to know that I have enough milk when it covers the blade. And then you can do this or not. I have a protein powder that I like to use to get a little bit of extra protein. This is just vanilla. Vanilla is great because it goes with everything. So I put that in. This may sound silly, but I always add a pinch of salt to all my smoothies. Salt helps make the smoothie sweeter, which sounds like counterproductive, but it does. It kind of brings the sweet flavors up. And I love the way it tastes when you put it in there. And then here is my small habit. I never, ever, ever make a smoothie or a milkshake without spinach. And if you don't eat greens and you don't like greens, this is the way to go. Spinach does not taste. The only negative about spinach is that it has a green color, so it will make it not very pretty. However, if you're just introducing this to children or somebody who visually needs to have it be pretty, do chocolate. You will not see this in chocolate. I make chocolate milkshakes all the time. My kids have no idea that there's spinach in it, like zero, because you really can't taste it. So if this has become a habit of mine, so every time I make a milkshake or a smoothie, my brain automatically says spinach. And so I always put a handful or two of spinach in it because it gets extra greens in there, and spinach is just a powerhouse for everything. So this is a small habit that I have attached to us making smoothies or milkshakes. Even if it's an ice cream filled milkshake, you guys, chocolate ice cream, fine, it's chocolate ice cream. But guess what? If you put some spinach in it, hey, at least you're getting some greens. I mean, there's no way to lose about this. So it's a really great small habit. There's also other things you can do, other things you can put in there. Sometimes we do, I know you can buy riced cauliflower in the frozen section. That is actually really good because it's frozen, so you don't need as much ice. And cauliflower also doesn't have a super strong flavor when you don't steam it or anything like that. So that's great. Zucchini works great. But if you're a beginner, spinach is perfect because it's very mild and you don't taste it. But then I also, of course, I have frozen bananas. I also have some frozen peaches. It was peach season and we were going away on a trip. And so I cut up the peaches that were going to go bad. And I'm going to put a few of them in here because my kids love peaches. There we go. And then depending on how much frozen stuff you have, if you have a lot of frozen stuff, you're not going to need very much ice. So I'm just going to take a few ice cubes just because my kids like it thick and put them in there. But sometimes I make it without ice at all. So that's, you don't always need ice. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this to show you guys. It's going to get a little loud. Let me see. I have a few questions. So let's see. What kind of protein powder do you recommend? Oh, that's a good one. So I'm super picky with protein powder. I don't like it to taste chalky. I also, for my own medical needs, I can't do gluten, and I avoid dairy because dairy does not agree with me very much either. So there's a few different ones. The brand Now, NOW, is one that I really like. It's pea protein. Pea protein is kind of what I'm leaning towards when it comes to protein powder. It tastes the best to me. It just has a better feel. I also, there's one that we have been using lately. It's Orgain, ORGAIN, I think. My husband doesn't love it. I think it's fine when it's in the smoothie, but when you smell the powder, he says it smells like fish foods. I don't know. He's really picky. I think it tastes fine in the blender. And then if you look on Amazon, especially, there's so many. I mean, there's so many you can pick from. To be honest, I go by price. I look at protein powder and I say vegan protein powder and gluten-free protein powder, and I just go with what's cheapest because most of them are pretty good. Just look at the ingredients, and but most of them are pretty good. I haven't had one that I don't like so far. And then let's see, do things like zucchini make smoothies watery? So what I would do with the zucchini, freeze it. So I love to do fresh spinach just because I think it's more mild when it's fresh. But you can freeze fresh spinach or zucchini and freeze them in little packs, like even like containers or something, so you have them ready to go. But I would freeze zucchini, I would freeze cauliflower. It doesn't make it any more watery when it's frozen than ice would. And it's actually says ice is all water, whereas those might have a little bit of water, but it's still nice and smooth in there. Blender, that's another really good one. So the blender that I use, this is a KitchenAid. I have a Vitamix, which I love, but I have to be honest, this KitchenAid was gifted to me to try out many years, I would say like 2 years ago when it first came out. It's the KitchenAid K400, I think it is. I think it's on there. I don't see it on there, but I'm pretty sure it's the K400. You guys, this is coming from a recipe developer. It's amazing. It is rivals a Vitamix. It's, of course, the Vitamix is incredible and definitely gives it a leg up. But I do a lot of raw cashews to make dairy-free sauces, and it's amazing. I can 100% tell you that it's absolutely incredible. It works really well, and it's not the price of a Vitamix. Right now, I want to say, I think I saw them on sale the other day for under $200, like $130 or something. And Vitamixes are like $400, $500, $600. This is the KitchenAid K400 is a great blender if you're going to use it every single day and you need it high powered and don't have the money for a Vitamix. So it's awesome. Vega protein. Yeah, Vega's another good one. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to blend this real quick to show you. So it makes a really pretty green color. My kids don't mind the green color. If your kids are picky, as I said, definitely go down the chocolate route because the chocolate will not show the spinach, but my kids don't mind it. So they think it's great. They're going to be stoked because I have a smoothie for them for after school and it's delicious. So I'm going to rinse this out real quick so I can show you the second idea that I have to show you guys. And see, look, whoop. See how pretty that is? Okay, let me rinse this out. This is also pretty easy to clean. If you clean your blender right after you use it and don't let it sit, it's so much easier to clean. See? Nice and clean. Okay, so here's my second tip around here. And I have found a few pasta sauces that are store-bought that I absolutely love. And so I don't make homemade pasta sauce as often as I used to because when it's delicious and the ingredients are simple, I kind of am like, why? I can use my time much better than that. So what I do is I take a jar of pasta sauce. And this one is the Mazzetta brand. I love it. This one and the tall, skinny one are just incredible. And then what I do is I collect the veggies that we have, that are about to go bad, we haven't used. It could be leftover veggies from another meal, whatever it is. And I put them in. This is zucchini, carrots, and red pepper. I had those left over. And so not only am I saving vegetables that I was going to throw away previously because they're about to go bad, but I'm also, when you see what, oh, let me rinse off the top of this blender because we don't want smoothie in our pasta sauce. That wouldn't be very good. But what I'm also doing is I'm adding extra veggies that my children will have no idea. See? Zero idea. And then if your children are smart, like mine are, ta-da, back in the jar it goes. You might have a little bit more because you added veggies, but. And then when it's time for pasta night, ta-da, they have no idea. And I know that sounds sneaky and it sounds maybe not so nice, but you know what? I fully believe that kids need to see vegetables in full form, 100% in full form. It's important for them to experience them. We always put them on the table, but at the same time, I don't believe in fighting at dinner time. I believe that it's really important for kids to have a good relationship with food. And when you're fighting over dinner, it attaches stress to food and that can create problems later on. So if we're eating pasta, I know they're getting vegetables because they're in here. And if they just eat a couple bites of whatever's on their plate, then I'm good to go. And they think I'm just a really easygoing mom when in fact I've snuck it into their pasta sauce and they don't know. So this works for so many things. You can puree vegetables and even freeze them in ice cubes and have them in your freezer so you can grab as you go. For things like, gosh, if you're making a casserole, like a hamburger casserole, fine, it's got meat in it, but you can get more vegetables in that way. Start small, like I said, and you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Let's see. Someone said, oh, what about a juicer versus a blender? So juicers and blenders are totally different. You can actually, I have both and I've used both and juicers are great. I find them to kind of be a little bit of a pain because you have to clean them and I'm not only kind of lazy, but I also just have a lot going on. So I don't use a juicer as often as a blender. However, if you put fruit or vegetables in a blender and put water in it and blend it on high, this high powered blender does it really well. Then you can strain it into a cup and it's kind of like juicing. You're just straining out the pulp. So you can actually use a blender to get juice if that's what you're looking for as well. Or you can drink it with the pulp, which gives you, all the fiber and stuff. Love help for a loved one with rheumatoid arthritis. So I am not a doctor, unfortunately. I know that the only thing I know is I have a good friend with rheumatoid arthritis, and she avoids things that can be inflammatory. And for her, everyone's different, but for her, she doesn't do gluten because that inflames her, and same with dairy. So I think that first you need to find out, go to your doctor, and that need to be avoided for that person. And then easily can get help finding meals and creating things that work for that individual person. So I'm great with the recipes and the ideas. I just don't know as far as, her medical history or anything like that. How would you turn the smoothie into a bowl type to add toppings? Oh, that's a great question. So the smoothie, I have an amazing smoothie bowl recipe on my website, and there's actually a trick to a smoothie bowl. What you have to do is with a smoothie bowl, you start with the frozen stuff. So you want to freeze your veggies, your fruit, whatever it is. And then you put the frozen stuff, just plain, no liquid, nothing, into your blender. And then you pulse it. You pulse, and it's going to chop it up into really, really small pieces. It almost looks like confetti. And I have a step-by-step on my website for that shows you what it's supposed to look like. Once it's chopped up into those really small pieces, then you add just a tiny bit of liquid, because what you want with a smoothie bowl is you want it thick. You don't want it like drinkable. You put a tiny bit of liquid, and because you've chopped it up, you're able to get it to process with just a tiny bit of liquid, and it makes this super thick, ice cream thick smoothie bowl. It's on my website. We can get that to you. If you go to my website and you actually search smoothie bowl, it'll come up right away. It's awesome. Good strategy for picky adults too. Yes, I know. My husband, I do it all the time. He's going to have no idea, you guys. We're making pasta tonight. I put it back like this. It's going in the fridge. He has no idea. Nobody does. I do this on my own time. Do you ever put smoothie into ice cube trays or make them into popsicles? Absolutely. What I do is I have a little one who, is, I don't know, he's crazy. I don't know if he's going to eat something or balk at it. Like, I have no idea. So what I do is I take the leftovers. So today, if they don't drink it all, they have the leftovers, and then I make ice cubes or popsicles out of the leftovers. And it's a great way to not, throw away and waste. Let's see. What about wheatgrass, or can you use that? Yeah, wheatgrass is great. I think with wheatgrass, you have to like the flavor of it. So if you haven't had wheatgrass, definitely just add a tiny bit and slowly increase it, because it does have a pretty sharp flavor. Tastes like grass. I don't mind it. It's kind of fresh tasting, but things like wheatgrass, if you're using something with a strong flavor like that, definitely you can counteract it with some sweetness. Like, the berries, the bananas are good. Even dates. We do dates in smoothies sometimes. And my website, she just wrote it, is veggiesdon'tbite.com. So that's all my magician type things I have for you today. Those are just my two things that I do. Is, again, this is a small habit. It's so fast and easy. Pouring this into a blender, blending stuff up and pouring it back. It takes less than 5 minutes. The longest part is cleaning out the blender, which is fine. But that's about it. If you attach these small habits, you're going to start wanting to do more because you feel empowered. I mean, I'm going to feel empowered tonight when my kids are eating food and they have no idea what I did. But thanks, everybody. I'm so happy you guys could join me, and so many great questions. And of course, always get in touch with me. I check my email all the time, Sophia@veggiesdon'tbite.com. So if you send me a question, I'm more than happy to get back to you. I am also on Instagram a ton. My Instagram handle is veggiesdon'tbite, and I answer all my direct messages. I'm really active there. Those are kind of the two big places I am active. And then, of course, my website.
Thank you again so much.